Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Garibaldi Red, a Nottingham Forest podcast, as the Reds are through to the semi-final of the FA Cup for the first time in 34 years. Penalties again, the story of our season, and who better to do it than Ryan Yates to send the team, the club, and the whole of Nottingham back to Wembley after that successful trip back for the play-off final. We will discuss the game, the trip to London upcoming, and how good this season is and is still going on now to be one of the best seasons we will have ever seen in some generations. We will discuss all of that on this Sunday. Happy Mother's Day to our mums that are tuning in today. Hope you have a good one. And on this Sunday, we'll be live for the next hour or two to discuss all of last night and everything surrounding Forest at the moment. Joined first of all by someone that wasn't there yesterday, who was feeling slightly sorry for himself this morning, being out on the beers. Sorry to throw you under the bus, Max. Mate, I text you last night, and I mean, I'll spare the viewers the video you replied to me, but I thought he's going to regret saying yes in the morning. How are you, mate, and how was it last night watching it down in London?
Oh, it was unbelievable. I mean, it's always funny sort of watching a game like that in a pub in London, because there's not really many Forest fans. There were four of us. There was actually three of us, and then this random woman just came and sat next. Random woman from Nottingham came and sat next to us. She was wearing all pink. She went nuts for the penalties and then left. Didn't even get a name. But yeah, it was absolutely, yeah. Obviously, you got to have a few beers when one of your own sends you to Wembley, and yeah, I'm just feeling a little bit worse for wear this morning.
Good, mate. Well, I promise we won't keep you too long, so you can try and nurse the hangover. Somebody that was there though, and Sam, you got back late. Sam, Tricky Tees, mate. What was it like in that away end yesterday? And I do feel for a lot of the Forest fans, because especially with the clocks change as well, some people must have probably not had the greatest amount of sleep this morning.
Yeah, I mean, I was quite lucky. It was only a trip back to London for me as well, so it wasn't too bad. But I got back at about 2 a.m. Went for a few beers after the game. Just thought may as well enjoy it in Brighton. And I like Brighton as well. It's a great place to go and watch football. Went down early and sat by the seaside with a few beers in the sun. It was great day out. And obviously the football was a big positive at the end of the day. So yeah, enjoyed it
for sure. Can't believe it. Forest in the semi-final of an FA Cup and back to Wembley. I mean, possibly 2 trips to Wembley this season if we can get through the semi. We'll find out who we play later on today. Of course, City Bournemouth later on this afternoon, and it's Preston Villa, isn't it, at 2 o'clock as well. So hopefully, I mean, I don't know, Bournemouth in the semis. Anyone? No, I'd rather save them for the final. Do you know? I'm actually probably more confident of beating City than I am Bournemouth with our track record. Max, I can see your face with your not hate towards Bournemouth, but as a footballing team, Forest always struggle against them.
Yeah, it's a love-hate relationship, and I say it like I lived there for a long time, and I love it. I've got so many great friends there, but they're just so annoying because we can't beat them. And maybe it's just sort of the romantic in me thinks, well, if there's any time to beat them, it's at Wembley in a cup semi-final or a final. But I would say, you know, there's an argument that they're their best footballing side left in the cup, potentially. But it's the cup. Obviously, we'd love to play Preston, but it's unlikely that they're going to beat Villa. You just got 4 really good in-form sides. I mean, other than City, who aren't in form, but they're a great side. It's a great cup this year, precisely because of the fact that the clubs that are still in it that are sort of smashing the ceiling, a theme which is, ongoing throughout this what I think is a fantastic Premier League season, fantastic season. But yeah, I think I'd try and save Bournemouth till the final, I reckon.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Also, I'm going to take this off because I look like a wally, but I'm wearing this in honour of my dad, who can't make the semi-final because he booked a holiday. Not anticipating that we'd be in the FA Cup semi-final, arguably, understandably, but green mile trees, that's my dad. So I'm going to take it off now and switch because I can't actually see.
Good, mate. Well, there you go. While you switch, I'll ask Sam about the game and what it was like in that away end. I mean, I can imagine it was pretty electric, Sam. And actually, when you look at the game as a whole, I mean, pretty nervy. Forest probably had the better of the chances. I mean, I heard some silly comments from some so-called pundits yesterday at the end of the game that was all even kind of towards the full time before extra time that said that kind of Brighton were the better side. I mean, I don't think they were. Obviously, more in extra time. I do think Forest were under the cosh. But overall, I thought really it was a good performance, Sam, and that Forest, considering we didn't have Chris Wood leading the line, it was a different formation. Nuno tried to kind of recreate similar to Liverpool. We played well, and then as the clock starts ticking and you get towards the 90th minute, you just kind of knew it was going to go to penalties, didn't you?
Yeah, it was a tense and cagey match throughout. I think that was always going to be the case after one team beats another. Like a few weeks before, obviously we hammered them at home, and it was always going to be the case that it's going to be the kind of a contrast to that, and it's going to be it was going to be a cagey, intense affair, and it felt that throughout the game, and it kind of there was periods where we were on top and they were on top, and there was not a great deal of chances in the game, but yeah, it was one of them that I don't know whether both teams maybe set up to kind of be a bit more reserved. Maybe that was the case, but I mean, Brighton certainly did compared to their last lineup against us. It was a much more reserved lineup, and we obviously didn't start with the two wingers. So just from the outset, you can kind of tell it was going to be that sort of game. And I think I've seen some of the pundits say like it did kind of look like a first game back after an international break, and it was just a bit tense and cagey. So yeah, when it went to penalties, I wasn't really surprised, but yeah, God, I hate penalty shootouts. So they're horrible, aren't they? They really are.
I was so surprised to hear that we'd never lost an FA Cup penalty shootout. That's incredible. I mean, in our lifetime, it's not as if we've had loads of opportunities other than this season to hit penalties, but yeah, maybe it sort of runs in the Forest blood a little bit because
I don't know what it is. I felt so confident though. As soon as they went to penalties, I was like, right, I'm confident here. You've got that feeling. I was just like, yeah, we're going to win this. We're going to win this. And Selzy's just unbelievable, isn't he? What a keeper.
Yeah,
he made a couple of great saves during the game as well.
Yeah,
I don't think the one that he tipped over the bar was fantastic. Such a good save. I thought that was destined to go in. But yeah, just electric at the end. The away end. I love FA Cup away days where you get about the bigger allocation, don't you, for the away fans? And there's about 4,500 Forest fans there making so much noise at the end, and I was sat on in the corner, so I got an amazing view. Just obviously celebrated the goal and then turned around and just saw the limbs in the away end. It was amazing. So good.
I've seen a video you posted on social, and it was a really good angle of that last penalty. Yeah,
my mate whipped his phone out for Yates' penalty and just turned around, caught me just going absolutely mental when it went in. But yeah, it was class. It was great.
Yeah. Absolutely, and also 93.4% success rate of penalties for Forest. That's in the club's history. So in terms of actually, the stats, really, Forest seem to do really well on penalties. In fact, from my time supporting Forest, I've only seen us lose the penalty shootout, which was against Newcastle at the start of this season. So and I can even remember us beating. Here's a throwback. I think it was like the EFL Trophy or whatever it was called back then. It was the Carabao Cup. We beat Bury on penalties, and it was like 11-10 on penalties. Joe Lolly scored, and their keeper skied one over the bar, and that was when Bury were like a League Two side, and before they went bust, and that was a good while ago. So I can remember that one. So we always seem to do well on penalties, and who knows, we might win the whole thing on penalties. Staying on penalties, Max, let's talk about Ryan Yates. And I mean, we give him lots of praise on this podcast, rightly so. If there is ever a man, ever a player that you want to step up, and I'd recommend anyone to go and listen to Colin Frey's brilliant poetic commentary towards the end and basically over that penalty shootout. Incredible commentary. If there is ever someone that you want to step up that isn't selfish, that wears the shirt with pride, that knows what it means to the city of Nottingham, he is the man to do it. And I'm just so pleased for him on a personal level. And yes, he will miss the semi-final due to the yellow cards, and that will be a shame. But to not even think about that in the moment, and to do it for the city, and obviously he probably volunteered as well to be one of the last to take it, knowing that he could have the fate of the whole of the football club on his hands. I mean, that's just testament to him and just shows almost what Ryan Yates is.
Yeah, he just makes me so proud to be a Forest fan. Like, he makes me more proud of it, and you couldn't have asked for a better bloke. I knew he was going to score. I just knew it, felt it in my loins, and actually the post-match interview he did, and this tells you everything about Yates. He says, Colin asks him, "Oh, you've you're obviously going to miss the semi-final. And he was like, it doesn't matter. This is about the fans. It's about the city. We'll win it anyway, and I'll be in the final. Like, and the way he answers the question just tells you everything you need to know about him. And I just knew he were going to score. And it wasn't the best penalty, but it just needs to go between the sticks, doesn't it? So, yeah, it was just another one of those moments that we've had, over the past 3 years, really, that you sort of think, what on earth's happening? What's going on? And yeah, delight for him.
I mean, Sam, does that almost testament from Ryan Yates and the passion and the desire that you show to do that and to step up and to almost have that pressure on you? That shows that almost the spirit of this season, that anything's been possible, and that Nuno has done such a brilliant job and continued that job from Steve Cooper that we talk about. But he's kept it going, that almost passion that you want from the players, and you just have confidence every time there's big moments that we have players in this side now that really just simply do seem to care, and that's what you want as a football fan.
Well, you see that from the scenes at the end. I genuinely think that obviously it was amazing with Cooper. The togetherness of the squad was there. It was there for everyone to see. I think it's better now, genuinely. I didn't think it could be, but I think it is. Just those scenes at the end, how you can see how much Nuno loves it. Like when he was walking off, and we were all singing his song, and he loved it. You could just see it in his face. He just loved it, and yeah, I honestly think it is better. I didn't ever think it would be, but it's just great to see, and that's the exact reason why we're doing so well. They kind of go hand in hand. Obviously, doing well, you're gonna have a team spirit, but you need that in the first instance to kind of get yourself into that position. So it's the major contributing factor really to why we are doing so well this season.
I mean, Forest actually, if you look at the bookies, pretty much are kind of joint favourites with City to win the competition now.
Oh, they've changed their tune, Max.
Well,
because we were other than Preston, we were only above Preston in the odds before. I had I won't name them, but they come on my show to give us the odds, and I had a right pop at them. I said, "How can you have Forest second bottom in the odds, mate?" Obviously, he didn't say. But I just thought it's so insulting. I said, "Oh well, Brighton have been unbeaten in 4 home games." Listen, I'm not mimicking the guy, by the way. Just like people saying to me on Twitter, and we'd lost. I think we'd lost a couple of games. It's like, yeah, we've just beat them 7-0. With third in the Premier League. I think people just are so fickle. And I don't know, love form and XG and it really did my head in that. And now we're second favourites. I've got some good odds. I've got some good money coming in, Max. If we win,
well, you can treat us all to a Garibaldi Red celebration meal if we win the Old Firm, Max. Well, I was actually just about to ask you, is that even watching the coverage last night, and a certain Wayne Rooney that said, "Oh well, I think kind of Nuno's shown his priorities with the team selection, and his priorities is on the league," and everyone seemed, it seemed to be that everyone thought that Brighton were favourites, and yet they didn't know that almost Nuno was doing kind of what he'd done against Liverpool.
Yeah.
And to trust the team and to have arguably 2 of your best players, Callum Hudson-Odoi and Anthony Elanga, the 2 probably most lethal players in the side at the minute, bar Chris Wood, who's obviously out injured. We'll get onto that in a short while. But for Nuno to trust his players to set up that way, to set up quite narrow, and also it takes, that's quite a bold thing to do as a manager, a chance to get in the semi-final, the first time in 34 years. There'll have been expectation on him from the club, from Mr. Marinakis, but for him to do it and to have the courage to almost change it, that shows almost the versatility that we've got in the squad this season, and that we've got a great manager tactically, but also to go against the pundits and this so-called narrative that Forest couldn't make it through to this semi-final, Max.
Yeah, I couldn't hear the coverage. But I'm surprised. I'm surprised that Rooney would say that. I mean, I think it again shows like a distinct lack of understanding about the club, but also about Nuno. I think despite what he's done this season, people still don't rate him as much and still see Nuno through the lens of a very short career at Spurs, and that sort of taints the way that people see him. And I think that they see Nuno as this one-dimensional manager rather than seeing him as the manager which has essentially shown the entire Premier League that you don't need to play Pep Guardiola football in order to be successful. And the league table shows that, doesn't it? And so I just think those comments from Rooney and other pundits expose a distinct lack of understanding of the game, arguably. What? To not understand that the way he's set up, and to not, as you've done, Max, draw comparisons to Liverpool and Forest still being the only Premier League side to win at Anfield, then their producers need to be given them more homework to do.
Well, just it speaks volumes about Wayne Rooney's managerial career if he can't see that. So I'll say I won't say anything else on
that. Moving swiftly on. I hope he's not listening.
He's probably not listening to the Garibaldi Red, to be fair.
You never
know, Max. Yeah, you never know. Someone might pass it on. Let's talk about kind of the performance overall, and obviously it was a bit cagey. And then we go into extra time, Sam, and you mentioned it at the start, but I thought Matt Sells just saved Forest. And defensively, yes, I was nervous. Yes, I thought, is a Brighton goal coming here, particularly when we were under the cosh. But you just have that faith in the defensive line. I thought Ola Reina had a brilliant game. Of course, Milenkovic and Murillo did. Great clearances, great almost aerial battles won from them. And Matt Sells, the Forest fans sing Matt Sells in the middle of our goal. But that chant really epitomises almost who he is and what he's doing at the moment, because he's on track for the Golden Glove in the Premier League. He's probably on track for some award if we won the FA Cup. He's been the hero in penalty shootouts, and he's been the hero in extra time to keep Forest in it. Just shows how important he is to the club, Sam.
Yeah, I remember when I was having this conversation on this podcast when we first signed him, and I think the expectations for Sells were just to come in and just don't do anything wrong. Like, that's all you got to do, is you've got to be steady, like just not make any silly mistakes. We don't need you to be world class, but compared to what we've had previously and all the mistakes that were going on with us and conceding silly goals from goalkeeping errors, it was just someone to come in and kind of solidify us at the back, and he's done that. More than we could ever ask for. He's been fantastic. No one kind of really expected it. I mean, he's had spells in the Premier League before with Newcastle, and their fans don't talk about him in the greatest light, and he's obviously come in, and it's the confidence, it's having that solid back four in front of him, and it all just gels perfectly. And like I say, he comes up with those big moments, that save where he tipped onto the bar, and then obviously the saves in the penalty shootout. I think Theo, I watched back the punditry after the game this morning, and I think Theo Walcott said that, God, if I was taking a penalty and I saw big Matt Sells in goal, I think it'd put me off, to be honest. So he's hopefully we don't go to penalties again. But if we do, it'll be because I don't think I can take it again if we go to penalties. But if we do, I'm confident that he'll sort us out and get us through it.
Yeah. God knows what it was like for you in the away end, Sam. I have one of these Whoop fitness bands, and it said, like, it gave me an alert last night in the penalty shootout that, like, my stress is at an all-time high. Honestly, I was just like, just please, Forest, take us to Wembley.
Yeah. I think at one point, if I had one on, I think it would at one point said I might be clinically dead, to be honest with you.
Have to get resuscitated in the away.
Yeah.
Few comments on YouTube and Facebook as we are live. This one from Lee: the game has changed. You don't need to play tappy football. It's all about not conceding and being devastating on the break, and that's what we do. Proved it against the Scousers and City. This one from Maurizio that says, everybody besides Forest fan thought Marinakis was bonkers spending all that money, but this year, after only 3 seasons, he's proved all of the football industry wrong. And this one from Michael, I guess this is aimed at you, Max. Which pub do Forest fans watching London need to find more Forest fans here? Come on, Max, you need to set up a Forest London group or something.
There is one, I think. There is one, but I've never actually gone, because it's sort of central, just North London. We actually watched the first half in the Haverstock Tavern, and that was there was no sound. And then we went up to the George, and they had sound. Watched the second half and extra time penalties.
That is my pet hate, is going into a sports bar or a pub and them not piping like they play.
We went into another one. We started at the Pembrokeshire, and they had racing TV and rugby on. Instead of an FA Cup quarter final. Absolute travesty.
Yeah, game's gone, eh? Game's gone.
Yeah.
Max, I mean, Sam's just talking about Matt Sells there, and obviously that comment from Lee as well about kind of Forest being devastating on the break and defensively being excellent. And I thought the way that Nuno set up yesterday was kind of it showed what our season was about in a way, that we are one of those sides that, yes, we defend well, but we're still lethal on the break, and we had chances. And I do just think that maybe if Chris Wood was playing, we'll get on to Taiwo, but if Chris Wood was playing instead of Taiwo, maybe Forest would have had chances more. Maybe Forest would have scored. And I did think that, you know, despite not having Chris Wood up front, we still created chances. But it was just quite a cagey game. It just reminded me of knockout football in a way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know exactly what the stats were. I'm just having a look now, but there was a graphic that came up on the screen. It said possession in the last 5 minutes, Forest 88%.
Yeah,
and I sort of almost fell off my chair. And I thought that we, like every second ball we won, I thought we pressed really well. And again, showing that there's more than one string to Nuno's bow. Obviously, you know, there were times where we had to defend really well in a low block, but particularly in the first half, we spent most of the time in their half, won all of the second balls, played really nice stuff in between the lines. And yeah, I think it probably would have been a different story, just because it's not a criticism on Taiwo per se, but the way that Wood and Gibbs-White link up together, it's such a well-oiled machine this season. I think they probably would have found a way, particularly in that first half. But yeah, I thought we played some really good stuff, and I thought we showed a slightly different side to our game, which was really nice to see.
Let's just brush on it for a moment before we talk more positives. I wanted to talk about the penalty shout and obviously it being overturned from VAR. I look back at it this morning, my opinion's slightly changed from maybe the heat of the moment yesterday. Sam, we'll start with you. I mean, obviously a bit difficult seeing it in the away end, but I'm assuming you've seen the replay back. What do you think of it? Is there enough evidence? You know, VAR's there to help the referee and overturn something, but it has to be clear. Almost, was it clear, and was there enough evidence to overturn that, or can you see why it was given in the moment, and should it have been given?
It was right in front of me. So now I have seen the replay because they showed the replay on the big screen in the game at the game after the VAR kind of screen came up. And in watching the replay in the ground, I thought that's a Stonewall penalty. You can clearly see that there is contact, and it's caused him to fall over. Watching it back after, I thought it was maybe not as Stonewall as I thought, but the fact it split decision so much just shows that there wasn't enough evidence to overturn that decision. Once it's been given, the whole point of VAR is clear and obvious decision. We talk about this all the time, and they move the goalposts and they move the lines again, don't they? And for them to go and overturn that once it's been given, I just find that baffling. I really do. And yeah, it would have been soft, but there was clearly contact, and I just think, I mean, I've seen a lot of people say it, and I always do think this, but if it was Liverpool, that's never getting overturned. Not a chance. Yeah. It's never getting overturned. So it's frustrating. I'm glad it didn't result in us going out something stupid like that. Because I thought the referee generally was all right throughout the game until that kind of moment. He lost it a little bit. I mean, you guys might be better to explain it, but what happened at the end with Morata when he get booked for trying to come on the pitch for a sub?
I think watching it was actually Morgan. I think it was Morgan Gibbs-White that got booked because he wanted to go back on because basically the fourth official was holding Morata because he had a piece of jewellery still around his neck, and he was going mad. He was going mad about it or something, and he was having to take it off, and then it slowed down the game, and then Peter Banks, the ref, came over and decided to book Morgan because he started getting involved. I didn't really know. My head was all over the place. No. I was trying to watch it, like what was going on. Max,
no, but yeah.
What did you think to the decision?
I thought it was a penalty. If that's a trailing leg and he catches Anderson, then it's a penalty or no, and it's undoubtedly given. But because I just think they've almost lowered the threshold because it's his arm. So I don't understand that. But I think the main point is what Sam has said. The decision's been given. There's contact's been made. He's taken him out, and it's not a clear and obvious mistake. It's not. And so that's what's so baffling and frustrating is we just want to have consistency. And how on earth, I don't understand what the threshold is for the ref or the VAR to overturn it. But, you know, I had a feeling something had happened at Brighton, as it did last time we were there.
It's always
I
Brighton.
just had a sort of funny feeling, and I'm glad that we're not talking about it as a game changing moment because we've gone on and won it.
Yeah, thankfully Anthony Taylor wasn't involved, so it wasn't as bad as it could have been. But it's it is a funny one, and I think we don't see it often in modern day football where the ref's sent to the monitor and goes against almost the decision, because often when they get sent to the monitor, they're going to either give it or not give it, kind of depending on the circumstances. So,
they usually go to the monitor to give a decision that they didn't initially give.
Yeah.
They don't usually go there to overturn it, and you just knew that, and it's not the individual referee, but generally they don't have the minerals to back themselves. That I think it's happened once where a ref has said, "No, I'm sticking with my decision." So you all know what's happening.
Yeah, for sure. But thankfully, it didn't affect Forest too much. Sam, let's talk about Taiwo Awoniyi. Obviously, coming off, Chris Wood is going to be out for about 2 to 3 weeks. Nuno was saying in his post-match interview, which isn't brilliant at all. Probably the news that we all didn't want, especially with a big game against Man United, and obviously now the priority on the league before we get to this semi-final and maybe final towards the end of the season. What do you make to Taiwo, Sam? I think they were protecting him, hence why they brought him off slightly earlier, because they knew the decision about Wood before we all did. I thought he was a slight nuisance in the first 10, but he just needs he almost just needs a goal for his confidence and to get back on that because in previous seasons he's had that almost run of scoring, and we all look back at the Taiwo in the first season and even maybe the start of last season. You think, why can't we have him back? And he just needs to try and find his feet again.
I thought we looked better when he was on the pitch. I thought as a team, I always think
he dropped deep well, yeah.
Yeah, I think his hold-up play was good. I do know what you mean. I think he's when he's on the pitch, you can see the difference in levels that we operate as a team when we've got Chris Wood there compared to him, and that's sad to see because we all know the levels that he could have operated at in, like say, in the past couple of seasons. So I hope this kind of some things like this sometimes are kind of like a catalyst for a player to get back into form, like a forced change, forced injury, and that's it. You've got the pressure's on them. It's all on them. The kind of the onus is on them to kind of create something and perform. So hopefully this is a catalyst for him to kind of regain that form. But
yeah, for sure.
I think he has got the potential to be that nuisance, and I do think we are better as a team when we have that kind of focal point up top. I think we do revert to changing the way we play and putting long balls upfield, and we were doing it in extra time with Alanga and Jota up front. And while they're fantastically quick and they're a nuisance when the ball's on the deck and we're running behind, we can't play that way to them because it will just come back straight back at us. So I do think as a team we play better with him. So yeah, I'm just hoping that maybe Man United game he can rattle a few in and that it'll be the start for another Taiwo Awoniyi run of form.
Yeah, hopefully. Obviously a big blow with Chris Wood being out, but next man up, Taiwo's got to be there, and maybe Nuno will change it up. And Forest have got attacking options with Anthony Elanga and Jota Silva, so there's no reason why other players can't be there. It's just we all know what Chris Wood does. He gets on the end of those kind of fast balls into the box, right place, right time, and that's what's made him the player he is. Obviously, a bit more disappointing news is that obviously Yates will miss the semi-final. Nico Williams confirmed his suspension on Instagram too. There was lots of mixed rumours on social media last night, but Ryan Yates and Nico Williams will be out. They've picked up too many yellow cards during the competition, and it does carry over from the quarters. So Nico Williams won't be available, and Ryan Yates. Max, let's talk about Nico. Again, a player that maybe sometimes goes under the radar and isn't given enough praise. And Forest originally signed him, and all Liverpool fans that were mates, he's not brilliant, he won't be great. But I think especially since Nuno's come in, I think Nico's been excellent. And again, I'm trying to picture the moment now and trying to re-jog it from my memory. But I think it was in extra time when there was a ball near the corner and the pressure was there from Brighton, and Nico controlled it well, and he kind of got the crowd up towards the end. I think near the corner flag. Yeah. So I don't know. I just think he's been a brilliant servant, and he doesn't get enough praise, but he does the job. It's going to be a shame that we won't have him for the semi-final. But I just think he's just one of those players that are in the squad this season, and you trust them to do a job whenever they're asked.
Yeah, I think he's been, under the shadow of Ola Aina a little bit this season. But I would say there's an argument to say he's the most improved player. Defensively, he's been incredible. I think he's doing a really good job on the left-hand side, when really that's not his position. And the fact that he's keeping someone like Alex Moreno out the side is a testament to how much Nuno trusts him and how consistent he is and how reliable he is. But it's just one of those things. I think the positive thing is that there's a really clear culture and system. All the players are really well drilled in it. So I don't think, whilst it's disappointing, I think we can get through without him.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just about to sneeze. I've just been reading on social media, actually. I've just seen it now, and it's made me realise if Forest do get Villa in the semi-finals, Alex Moreno won't be able to play, which means Harry Toffolo will have to step up and do the job, which he's done. And arise Sir Toff. That's what we say, and hopefully he does that job. Obviously, that's providing that we get Villa. Maybe Preston will do it this afternoon for us. Sam, big game on Tuesday night. Obviously, focus goes back to the league, but surely in the back of the players' minds and Nuno's minds now, obviously, we've got about a month-ish until the semi-final, a trip to Wembley. We're one game away from the final. And can this season get any better? Because we're going to get, hopefully, Champions League, and you never know, we could win the blooming FA Cup.
Yeah, well, back to business, isn't it? Back to business. We've got a big task, big running to come. So how many games left? Eight games. Is that right?
Yeah.
So yeah, they're going to be, every single one's going to be like a cup final now until we get down to that last game of the season. So that's the way we've got to treat it. And obviously they always talk about it, don't they? About next game, and that's what they're focusing on. And I know Yates said it in his interview after the game that we're just focusing on Man United now, and that's the way it should be. So yeah, they'll be just as up for that as they will be for any sort of FA Cup semi-final and final potential. Yeah, they're just up for everything, aren't they, at the moment? And I can't see us getting derailed from the kind of the great season we're having.
Yeah, absolutely. I just when we kind of look back on the last few years, and you think that getting to the FA Cup quarter-final was an achievement with Steve Cooper, getting to the semi-final of the EFL Cup, Carabao Cup final under him. Then we get to Wembley and get promoted, and you think that's probably the best we're going to get for maybe 10 years. Now we're third in the Premier League, FA Cup semi-finalists. When you look back, Max, on just the rise of the club in the last 5 years, it just really is astonishing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true. Like every time something big happens, whether it's last night, whether it's sort of another step closer to the Champions League, you just pinch yourself. It's incredible, and long may it continue. That's all I can say, really. It's absolutely amazing.
Absolutely.
Where are you going to watch the semi, Max? I'm guessing you're going to be there.
Yeah.
Not be in a pub.
No. We'll be getting tickets for that, so can't wait. I think I've just had a look. I'm pretty sure the semi-finals, is it the weekend of the 26th, 27th of April? We were meant to play Brentford, so there'll be a rearranged game there, obviously. But no, yeah, really looking forward to it, and it's interesting. I think it takes the shine off the fact that it's at Wembley for a semi-final. I just think there's enough stadiums in the country to find a neutral venue to send them to. But obviously to go to Wembley and with all of Nottingham and sort of relive the playoff final would be amazing. And hopefully we get through.
Yeah, looking forward to see Wembley Way, full of red and white scarves. Big game on Tuesday as well, Max, against Man United, back to the league. Without Wood,
did you say 2 to 3 weeks? I was reading that he was just saying we're taking it day by day. Who did he say that to?
It was I'm pretty sure he said it in his post-match interview. I hope I'm right, but I'm pretty sure he said it in his post-match interview. I did a bit of reading this morning, so
yeah. Well, look, United, I think, are beginning to show green shoots of improvement under Amorim, and we are going to miss Chris Wood. I hope that Morgan. He must be all right because he sprinted to get to Ryan Yates at the end, didn't he? But said he took him off because of that knock with the post. Fair enough. Worked out in the end. I was surprised at the time though because I thought Morgan's got to be taking a penalty. But hey ho, we're through. So yeah, I think it's going to be a really difficult game, but under the lights, at the City Ground, Forest have to be favourites for that game. But as I say, things are improving at United, and without Chris Wood, we're going to have to find a way to score. And to be fair, he's not necessarily been in the best form recently, has he? Like, he's been in better form earlier in the season, and we've still managed to win, and we've still managed to maintain our position in the league. I'm just really nervous about these past 8 games. I know we've got that sort of 7-point cushion, but I'm just nervous because I'm at a stage now where not getting Champions League would feel like a disappointment. And I know that sounds mad, but such as we've been up there for so long, I think I've said on this pod a few months ago, earlier in the season, I said I'd take any European football. I'd take Conference League. It'd be amazing. And of course it would. And we'd quickly get over the fact, if we didn't qualify for Champions League, we'd quickly get over it. But I do still think it would feel like a massive disappointment. So I feel even more nervous about these last few games because Champions League, that anthem at the City Ground is just like something different gravy. So feeling a little bit nervous. So my predictions are cautious, but I do still think we should beat United.
We will see. Spine-tingling stuff on it if the Champions League anthem gets played at the City Ground. Just to confirm on Wood as well, actually, I've just done a bit of fact-checking, shall we say. Nuno says not good. We'll assess him day by day. So maybe I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. So hopefully it isn't 2 to 3 weeks. So Nuno and the club will assess him day by day, and we shall see on Chris Wood. Let's hope he makes a speedy recovery. Sam, I'm guessing you're going to make a T-shirt, mate, for the semi-final. Come on, I need to be wearing one of yours on Wembley way, and I might just bring back maybe Matchday with Max for one video potentially.
Oh, you should, mate. Yeah, 100%. You should do that.
It might make the return.
Well, I've literally just done a Chris Wood T-shirt, and he's got himself injured on international duty. So I'll put that out anyway, because obviously you've done that. And then someone messaged me on the way home yesterday saying, surely a Matt Sells T-shirt's coming as well. So yeah, I'll have to get busy and do that before the semi-final.
Nice.
Yeah, and then if we win it, you've got to try and find a way to get everyone's face on a T-shirt with the cup in front. FA Cup winners or something. I quite like the scarves yesterday that some people had that said we're going to Wembley. Whether they were kept from the playoff final, I saw that Morgan was holding one up, or whether somebody had risked it and bought or made one and then took it into the ground.
I'd love to know how they churn these scarves out so quickly. Do you know, like scarf manufacturers, and there's like thousands of them around grounds like match day. I'd love to know actually who designs it and how quickly they're churned out, because it's mad. I reckon it were probably a new one,
Yeah, half and half scarves. They'll be there on Wembley.
I never buy half and half scarves. I don't like.
I can remember the Forest Huddersfield ones, half and half scarves actually, for the playoffs. But we'll see. It's going to be a good day. Can't believe it. Forest back to Wembley, and really looking forward to it. End of April. So fingers crossed you can get there, and it will be a cracking day, whatever the result, especially beforehand, for Forest to be flooding red into London again. It's a home fixture for you, Max, as well.
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, yeah. But yeah, can't wait. I mean, hopefully, and the weather will be a little bit better, won't it? Like, I'm looking out the window now, and it's blue skies. It was a really nice day for most of the day yesterday. Yeah, just special moments for Forest fans, and I think anything can happen in a cup final. This is what I think. Every team that is in that draw will not want to play Forest. I genuinely think all of the clubs will look at us and think that we just not Forest, please. Because we are the best team in the draw. And this is why I was so frustrated about the odds, Max. Because I just thought, how on earth can Forest be, second bottom favourites before yesterday's fixture? I thought it was absolute travesty. No one will want to play Forest. And I think that gives us a psychological edge. And yeah, it's been an amazing run. I still think for us, the main focus has to be the league. But I'm enjoying every step of the way while it happens.
Yeah, fingers crossed Tuesday night. Back to it in the league. Sam, Max, thanks, boys, as ever. Appreciate it. Good luck with the hangover today, Max. I'm sure you can have a sleep. I'm
going at 2 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
You're just nursing it a little bit better, I reckon.
What time did you get in, Max?
Oh, I don't even know. Honestly, I don't know. I can't. Yeah, I don't know. I had a really good night though, really good night, and then met up with some other Forest fans in the area. So yeah, we had a good time.
You saw the clocks change, didn't you, live on your phone? It was like you were awake at that time when it went forward.
Yeah.
Right, Bo, thanks as ever. Appreciate your time. We will be back, obviously, this week with a bit of a midweek fixture. It knackers things up slightly. So we'll be back either late Tuesday night, depending on what time I get back from the game, or Wednesday. Then we'll have another episode previewing. Then, who is it next weekend? Remind me, boys. I've had a mental... Villa, that's it. We're at Villa. We're away to Villa. So we could be playing Villa twice. We will find out tonight, and especially if they get through against Preston. So we'll have an episode reflecting on that and lots more. So much to talk about at the moment, and so good to be doing this as Forest prepare for a European tour and possibly 2 trips to Wembley. Thanks for all your comments on Facebook and YouTube. Once again, happy Mother's Day to our mums who are watching on this Sunday. Have a good one, whatever you're up to. Sam, Max, thanks as ever, boys. See you both soon. And hopefully see you on Wembley Way for a little interview for that semi-final. Looking forward to it. Give us a like, share and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify and Apple Podcast. We will see you very soon. Forest 3rd in the Premier League and through to an FA Cup semi-final for the first time in 34 years. Que sera, sera. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.